So the question always is, what should I use? Screw pipe? Should I use copper sweat fittings? Should I use push connectors? Or should I use the new press technology? You know what? That's all coming up on the bench. I'll see you in a minute. All right, here we are on the bench, and I'm going to go over briefly 4 of the most popular ways that we connect water lines today. Way back when, in the early days, when I was a young man, it was screw pipe, IPS, iron pipe size. And, simply before Teflon, we used to wrap our lamp wick, which looked like a, very thin, I don't want to call it rope. It was like thread. And we would put that on in between the threads, followed by pipe joint compound. And then we would get our IPS fitting and simply screw everything in here like this. And, with a couple of wrenches, we would make that up clockwise to tighten it, counterclockwise to loosen it. And that was the preferred method for a long, long time, until copper started to come in. Advantages of this, the brass pipe is relatively thick and strong. Disadvantages, I would say, when you're making threads, you're actually removing a lot of the material. And typically, when a brass piece of pipe failed, it always failed at the thread, because that was the weakest point. That's where most of the material was taken away in order to make the thread. And I don't know if you can see, but the threads are tapered, and as the nipple goes into the fitting further and further, it gets tighter and tighter. And that, in combination with your sealant, makes a watertight seal. In freeze situations, most times the fittings would split before the pipe would split, because the fittings were much less, it was much less mass than the pipe itself. It was a thinner gauge of brass, and so if there was a freeze up in there and the water expanded, the fitting would generally split. I've never seen a piece of split pipe in my career. So anyway, what happened then? Copper started coming into the picture, and it was becoming very expensive to use brass pipe and carry nipples and fittings. So everybody transferred over to copper in order to remain competitive. And copper was kind of neat because you didn't have to carry around a pipe threading machine. You had everything, literally in your truck in one little box. You could carry it up. You would prep your pipe. You would ream the inside of the tubing. You would clean the outside of the pipe. You would also clean the inside of your fitting. And for more detail about how I go about doing that, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below this video on my soldering video. But simply, we would join the 2 pieces together, and then through use of a torch with either propane or MAP gas, we would create a solder joint. And, that is a bulletproof joint. Many advantages. You didn't have to carry around, pipe cutting machines and lug heavy equipment around to cut and thread pipe. You could do it all, in a box, carry your fittings around. You have a little solder box with all your cleaning materials in there, and you were pretty much good to go. What happens in freeze situations with copper tubing is generally the pipe will split open. The pipe will split when this freezes. So again, for more detail on how to, solder, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below this video, and you can go check out my soldering videos. But this is what I use probably 90% of the time today. I do small repairs, some mild renovations, and for the amount of work that I do, I find that this is, cost effective for me. And yeah, copper sweat fittings is pretty much the most popularly used method in today's world. But hold on, because what's coming down the pike, or what is already here, are push fittings, which is push technology. And I will bring a push fitting up here. And the most popular push fitting, or at least the most popular name brand push fitting, is made by a company called Sharkbite. Now, this isn't an endorsement of Sharkbite in any way. It's just that people, recognize that name. And simply put, it's a push fitting. What that means is you push the pipe in and it locks. It gets, you see that set of stainless steel teeth in there. And beyond those teeth is an O-ring washer, which creates the waterproof seal. And in this particular one here, on this end here, you're going to see a plastic insert. Actually, I pulled it out of the other end. This plastic insert, you would leave in there if you're going to be working with PEX tubing, because they want that to go inside the PEX tubing to prevent it from possibly collapsing, especially if you're going to be in a hot water situation. But if you're going to use this for copper tubing, you are to remove that. You would go in there with a pair of pliers, you grab onto that and you pull it out of the way, and which is what I did with this end. But simply put, what you must do first, or what you should do first, is I purchased a tool, and this is a Sharkbite tool, and this is a 1/2-inch coupling. And what I would do is, you would take your piece of copper, and you want to make a depth marking on here. So you put it in here, and then you want to put a pencil mark, or a marker. Make a mark here, because that's going to give you, you'll know when you push the fitting all the way in. And you'll see my mark there. And actually inside here, I don't know if you can see down in there, but in each one of these sizes here, there's a little outside reamer. And what that does is it deburrs the outside of the pipe, which is going to ensure that when you push it in the fitting, you don't destroy the O-ring washer that's in there. And simply, you would take your push fitting and you would push that in, and you want to make sure that after you push it in, you get up to the mark that you made. Now, if you were shy of the mark, you would know that's not in all the way, and you would have to basically take it apart and do it over again. And to remove these, they are removable, and Sharkbite makes a tool. It's a removal tool, and they make one for each size pipe. So, depending upon the size pipe you're using, you're going to have to get one of these tools for each size. And simply, you would put that around the pipe, and you pull that, and it's going to compress that ring, that plastic ring, and by pushing in on it, you should be able to take the pipe apart. And there you go. It comes right out. It comes right out. And then you can make adjustments if you need to. But that is a Sharkbite fitting, and that is a push fitting, which, is, I see more and more of these. I personally don't like them. And just one note here, in New York City, we are not allowed to use these fittings because they are removable. And if by code they are a removable push fitting, we are not allowed to use them. So, in my opinion, I think that's a good thing. But hey, push technology is all over the place, and it's coming into the world of plumbing. And I guess down the road, who knows if they'll ever let this pass muster. But you have to keep an open mind as to whether or not you want to use something like this. As far as the freeze factor goes, I've seen videos on YouTube where they've actually frozen the the water inside the pipe of a push fitting, and I've actually seen them. They would pull out of the fitting. So if you want to take that into consideration, something to think about. Now, the next fitting up I'm going to show you is this is a non-removable push fitting. And for the sake of demonstration, I'll just go through the motions here. But this type of push fitting is not removable. And as you can see, it has those inserts in there. They're in there backwards. You can pull them out, turn them around if you're going to use PEX tubing. So you'll insert them. You'll insert this into your tubing, and then you can proceed to go ahead and push this on here. But same type of deal. where you're going to have to get a depth gauge, and that all depends on manufacturer. But you will make a depth marking on here, and actually this is 3/4 inch. So you would put that in there. You would make your mark on here, and again, this is manufacturer specific. So this is a Sharkbite tool you're looking at here, but depending upon the fittings you're using, you should get their tool. And what's going to happen is you're going to come in here, and then you're going to push this in here. Once that gets pushed in there, it's not coming out. So if you make a mistake, you're going to have to throw the fitting away, and these are not inexpensive fittings. So a non-removable push type fitting, which I would actually be able to use according to New York City code here in the city, and that's another method to go. And last but not least is the not the newest technology here, but we're seeing it more and more here. This technology has been around in Europe for many years, and it's called press technology. And again, what we want to do is, because there's an O-ring in here, I don't know if you can see, there's a rubber O-ring in there which creates the seal. The O-ring is located inside here. So you want to deburr the outside of the copper tubing, because you don't want to compromise that rubber washer in there. And what will happen is you clean your tubing, or you deburr the outside of the tubing, and you push this in all the way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a press tool, which comes with a variety of jaws, anywhere from 1/2 inch up to 2 inch, which will clamp around here. And in about 7 seconds, it is going to crimp that fitting onto the pipe and make a permanent watertight seal. Now, I don't have a demonstration here for you, because I have decided that for me, it's not cost effective yet to go out and spend about $2,300 for the tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description box below with a video of how these tools work and how actually press technology works. But this seems to be more and more popular today. And if you're doing a large amount of work, a large amount of renovation work, and you're doing, like hundreds of miles of copper tubing, this may be the way to go, because now you eliminate the torch, you eliminate the cleaning of the copper with the Scotch-Brite pads and the sandpaper. You eliminate the flux, you eliminate the heat, which is can sometimes be a fire hazard. And literally, you can put this whole plumbing system together. You can dry fit this. You can get all these fittings in, line them up just the way you want, and then you can come in with that press tool and just press all the joints closed. The other advantage to this technology is, if you have a little water in the line and you can't get 100% shut off, it works great, because you can just push this in, press this, and you got a watertight seal. Now, if you're working with a torch, as you know, or as many of you should know, you cannot have any water inside the line and solder. You need 100% shut off, and sometimes that's not possible. So, with the press technology, you just deburr the outside of the copper, you get that in there all the way to seat all the way down, and then you come in with the press tool and you just press this joint here. And like I said, in about 7 seconds, you have a joint. And that's about it for this video, guys. I personally, because I do mostly service and repair, I don't do, I do renovations occasionally. But you know what? I use copper sweat fittings. Bear in mind, a copper sweat fitting, such as something like this, although this is a male adapter, this is an elbow, you're going to pay 3 to 4, sometimes maybe even 5 times more for this than you would for this. But you have to take into consideration the labor savings, because you're not cleaning, you're not fluxing, you're not heating. You're just, you're cutting, you're inserting the pipe into the fitting, and pretty much, you're moving along at a fast pace. So the labor savings is going to be cost effective for you guys who are doing a lot of renovation work. But then again, you have to make a decision. Do I want to invest $2,000 for a tool to do the press technology. So there you have it, folks. You have the old-fashioned way, the way I started, IPS, which is, you know, it's bulletproof, but it's pretty much passé in today's world. Then you have the copper, you know, sweat copper, which is what I still use today. You know, clean the fitting, get it inside the fitting there, and then we sweat that with a torch and solder. And again, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below to my soldering video. Then we have the push technology. Again, this is a Sharkbite fitting. It's pretty simple. You push this in here, and that's locked on, and that's a permanent seal that's not coming out. And we also have the press technology. Again, you want to deburr the copper here. So if you have this tool or a deburring tool, you can go in here and give it a little deburring. Then you can put this in here. And as I said, you could literally put the whole water distribution system together itself, line it all up, level it all out, and then come in there with the press tool and crimp all these joints. And that's it, folks. So I hope you got some useful information out of this video. If you enjoyed it, I highly recommend you give me a thumbs up, please. And also subscribe to the channel. And I will be seeing you real soon in the next video. Happy plumbing, guys.
Hey folks, it's Bob here. If you find these videos helpful, please hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to claim your free video series, The 7 Things You Shouldn't Have to Pay a Plumber to Do. And to learn more about how to prevent a plumbing disaster in your home, check out my new video course, The No-Brainer Home Plumbing Inspection Checklist. Happy plumbing!